So today I want to talk about the physical component of our product. I've mentioned before that we have 4 components. We have physical, visual, mental and emotional. We also have a social component. So today we're going to focus on the physical, and you'll definitely find some videos with our other core components. So let's get started. It's not going to be a long video, just very, very brief, but I know it can be quite confusing. Normally the word that people would use is functional when it comes to training, whereas we are using the word physical. The reason why we have chosen physical is we are not high intensity, we are not anything to do with impact, we are not like everything, so we're very different when it comes to actual training and the programming that we follow. So when it comes to physical, I guess the biggest starting difference of what we do is we are only weights. That's literally all we do. We are only weights. We go back to full sets, full repetition based exercises. We go back to around 8 exercises per class. We heavily superset, continuously are supersetting. We use isolation, and we also use very targeted, very specific programming to achieve a specific goal. So you'll find every month there's 4 core goals, and then every week there's a goal within the week of how we're going to get to that goal. So I guess an example of that might be we want to get the middle back activating, because in a lot of women, especially if you haven't trained before, even if you have trained, I know me personally, literally for about 5 years, I could not activate my middle back until I invested in the resources of multiple personal trainers to help me get there. And that was, very, very helpful. So when we say physical, we're referring to something completely different to, I guess, when you're thinking of functional training. And we're not too concerned about whether you're replicating the same movement as like pulling something in day-to-day life. We definitely are concerned about functionality in terms of, I don't want to load your body, I don't want to excessively place impact by making you jump around. If you're really tired because you've been up all night with your toddler, that's completely fine. You can still do our workouts, and you can moderate it so that you're going at a comfortable pace. We have a really awesome feature. Well, I think it's awesome, but here at Dollhouse we like it. So basically, once a week you actually get a completion rate. So that actually works out your completion rate of how much you actually completed with correct form, how much you actually got through. You might have only got 8 reps out of the 12, and the sets as well. So that's a cool feature that we have around the physical side. But if we're going to talk about physical again, I guess when it comes to visual, I won't start from top down because that did get quite long. But that's why physically we're very different. So specific ones though, I'll list them very, very quickly so we get a better understanding. Physically is so different to so different to visual. They're nowhere near the same, like not even 2 different worlds. Anyway, when it comes to women and men, when it comes to physical, 2 completely different worlds. I feel, and we feel that firmly here at Dollhouse, which is why we've created this product. An example is breast tissue. Breast tissue, if you're continuously jumping around or even running, it's really bad for breast tissue long term. Even your face as women, things like jowls and just all that pressure on your face. We're always trying to maintain our collagen and elasticity in our face. If you're continuously jumping around, there's lots of studies around it that do show that it does age the face. So that alone, as a female, from a physical side, because that is part of the body, that is part of the face, that is a concern. So there's that. There's particularly the middle back. The middle back we're extremely focused on. We kind of feel the middle back, we feel it's pretty much like your pelvic floor. We feel it's one of the most important things that we're concentrating on in our training. The reason being is that obviously we have the breast tissue again, so women often hunch. We often hunch as well because we're always at work, or we might be on our phone all the time now with technology advances. We might be studying, we might just finish school, whatever it is, you get the point. There's that hunch. You should actually have your chest back. You should continuously be feeling as though you're squeezing your shoulder blades together. A lot of people are not. As soon as you start hunching, there's a magnitude of problems. You're completely off balance, you're completely uncentered. It's very hard to train, and it's going to lead to long-term problems. If you want to add in the fact that we are females and a lot of us, not all of us, but some of us do go on to become parents and mothers, if you've got a young child that you're holding continuously, that's an extremely heavy load. Or maybe you've got cousins and things like that, or just in general you've got like a really physical job. The point is that we as women, we are genetically a lot weaker in our upper bodies. We can't lift the same as men, and if you go and overload that as well in a particular type of training, for example, or you're doing your own thing and you're lifting really heavy, say I think I've done a video prior with a front delt raise, and you go lift even like a 10 kilo and you don't have the support, especially through your middle back, you're going to get hurt, like really, really hurt. So there's actually quite a lot around the physical side, as hopefully I'm explaining and you're starting to understand. I won't go into it too much, but even basic things like our hip flexors get extremely tight again from how we're sitting, particularly if we're going to start focusing on our glutes. It is extremely important that there's preventative measures around that with strength, stretching, as well as coinciding that with how often, the frequency, as well as balancing your actual body out. It's not a case of you're just going to grow bigger glutes and everything's going to be well and merry. No, you can actually really affect your body and really hurt yourself, particularly through the hip flexor region, if you're not being mindful of that from a physical side. So a very, very detailed product, a little bit of a detailed, maybe boring video, but that's why I wanted to communicate very large difference between physical, visual, and then again, if you want to tack on the word functional, we don't fall in that category. We're definitely not the same in that capacity, which is why we use the word physical.